Oprah. She started doing radio part-time in Tennessee. Or sorry, not Tennessee, in Nashville. Mark Burnett, he started by selling t-shirts on the Venice Boardwalk for $18 on the weekends, and he was also a live-in nanny. Richard Branson, he started by creating a newspaper, and he was doing that at the age of 16. And Craig Kielburger, he read in a newspaper in the Toronto Star over breakfast about slave labor, and that spurred him into action. So the reason that I'm here today is to help you remove your barriers, whatever is stopping you, so you can start something big. So here's where I started. I graduated from Ryerson's amazing radio and television program. I had just come off this epic internship at MTV in Santa Monica doing series development, because I was always curious and interested in creating and hosting television shows that have an impact. So I thought, okay, I'll go from California to graduating, and then I'll just start, and I'll start making these TV shows. But that is not how it went. I got really stuck right after I graduated. I started to get really afraid, and I didn't know what to do. I was just completely overwhelmed. And I got into a state of analysis paralysis. I was just thinking about what action I should take and not doing anything because I was just so afraid and stuck. Well, there was one thing I did. I decided I would read about really successful people to find out how they got their start. So I read all of those books, and I read biographies, really just hoping that I could take some of that information and use it in my life. But I quickly realized that that wasn't working, and it was getting to the end of my first summer as a graduate, sleeping on my parents' couch, and they were just kind of like, Gwen, come on, like, let's go. So I took it upon myself to just reach out and ask for help. So I decided to Facebook my friend who started tons of different companies at a young age, and just ask him, how do you do this? So we had this great conversation, and he basically told me, Gwen, the action you're taking is consistent with being a librarian, not with being somebody who creates and hosts TV shows. And we quickly realized that, I am delusional. And that was at the time it wasn't great, but it was a great realization because it gave me access to taking the next step. So I'm a millennial, I have a problem, I don't know how to get into action, so what do? I start a blog to put my problems out there in the world and just try and get some answers. So I created this blog. It's obviously very technical and wonderful. It's called I Realize I'm Delusional. And I decided to start taking action and blog about it every few days and just writing down the action I was taking as an experiment to hope that the action I was taking towards creating a TV show would actually make it happen. And the good news is, it worked. I went from day one, that's actually my bed, my parents' couch, on August 19th of 2010, to where I am right now. So I've created and I host a TV show on Rogers TV called Start Something Big, where we interview entrepreneurs and successful people and find out how they got their start. So that was very exciting, and it proved that once you get into action, even if you're not sure exactly what you're doing when you start, you can make it there, and you can find your passion. So I'm not exactly where I want to be just yet, but I found the path, and I want you to find your path as well. So I've got to ask you, what's stopping you from starting in your life? If you want to do something big, maybe you want to start a new career, maybe you want to write a book, maybe you want to be a TEDx speaker one day. What's stopping you? I put this question out to friends and family and people on Facebook and Twitter, and I got a ton of answers. People are stopped by things like money, I don't have enough time, I'm afraid of success, because hey, once you hit success, what's next? I'm afraid of failure, I'm too old, I'm too young. And there are so many big things that get in our way to stop us. So I have a few suggestions of what worked for me that I hope can work for you, so you can start something big. Number one, start small. Send one email. Make one phone call. Have one conversation. And if it works, do it again. And if it works, do it again. If you keep surviving taking these small steps and taking these small actions, you'll get there one day. As the quote says, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. My next suggestion is to connect to something bigger than yourself. When I first started, I just thought it would be great to make a TV show. But as I was working, it became about more than that. It became about connecting to something bigger, and that was to really help people eliminate their barriers so they can create the lives they want. Because when I see somebody who's starting something, that lights me up, and that's all I need. Share your goal with everyone. This can be so hard, especially if you're worried about what people will think of you, but this can be your access to getting into action, to starting what you really want to start. I didn't get into action until I started sharing with people, hey, I want to make a show. And once I started sharing it, even though it was very reluctant, people started to want to help. So if you have something you want to do, why not share it with people and ask for some help? And finally, it's okay to be a little bit delusional. I think some of the most successful people in the world are a little bit crazy. Like, it's not a normal thought to think that you can actually create a commercial space line or a space travel company. Like, how is that a normal thought? But I believe people who watch TEDx, or people who are in this room, or people who are watching online, you're the ones who want to start those big things and are looking for ways to do it. So if you have a little bit of a crazy idea, that's great, go with it, because I think that when you're called crazy, that is a compliment. So to end off, I just want to say that success is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. I'd been living my life completely backwards. I was looking for that inspiration, and filling it up with the 99%. But if you learn anything today and you're inspired by any of the speakers here, that's awesome. That is your 1%. But what I suggest you do with that 1% and take it and work incredibly hard so you can start something big. Thank you.